In this video, we are going to discuss about AWS Elastic Beanstalk. It is also known as Platform as a Service. It is PaaS. So as we discussed earlier, that PaaS only application is responsible by the customer. The remaining all application runtime, OS virtualization, physical hardware, and networking is responsible by the cloud. That is AWS. So it is very simplest way to deploy and scale our web applications in AWS. So we need to deploy only application. Remaining like scaling, load balancing are managed by the AWS. So it supports Java, .NET, Node.js, PHP, Ruby, Python, Go, and Docker application, that is container. So these many languages are supported by Elastic Beanstalk. So there are no use charges for using AWS Beanstalk. So they won't charge for using Elastic Beanstalk service. Instead, they charge for using like EC2 instance, storage, S3 buckets. When it comes to features of AWS Elastic Beanstalk, so it supports load balancing, auto scaling, manage platform updates, and application health monitoring. In this, so the AWS automatically includes load balancing. So we did not to configure load balancing separately. So it is managed by the AWS. So auto scaling, so it increases or decreases the instance depending upon the traffic. So it also manages the updates. So it only manages the OS updates, or else when it comes to language updates, it is also managed by the AWS, and it also monitors the health of the EC2 instance. So that is about AWS Elastic Beanstalk. So now we will see how to deploy an application using AWS Elastic Beanstalk in a practical video. So auto scaling components. When we are when we create an EC2 instance, the first step is to AMI. We need to select AMI, that is this is the software, that is operating system we need to select by us. And second step is that we need to select hardware, that is CPU, RAM, and memory by us. But in Elastic Beanstalk, these all are managed by the AWS itself, that is EC2 instance, that is hardware and AMI, and also auto scaling group. So this is nothing but, suppose uh, we create a policy like when the CPU usage is 80%, it automatically create 5 EC2 instance in order to handle the traffic. So if the CPU utilization is only 60%, so we don't need 5 instances, rather than we need only 3 instances. So that is about auto scaling group and auto scaling policies. So these are also handled by the AWS. So what are the dynamic scaling policies? So scaling policy, example and description. So target tracking scaling, as I said earlier, that for example, if we want to maintain CPU utilization at 70%, we can modify our capacity based on target value. For a specific metric, we can modify the CPU usage based on that, then instances increase or decrease. So in simple scaling, so as I said earlier, that if the CPU utilization is greater than 80%, so we need 5 instances in order to handle the traffic. So, but if the CPU utilization is less than 60% usage, then we need only 2 instances in order to handle the traffic. So that is about simple scaling. So what is step scaling? So we create a policy that when the CPU utilization is between 70% and 80%, then we need to increase the instance to +1, so that it can handle the traffic. So if the CPU utilization in between 80 and 100%, then we need more instances, that is +3, in order to handle the traffic. So similar settings were scaled on. So if the CPU utilization is between 50 and 40, we can decrease the EC2 instance. And if CPU utilization is between 20 and 30, then we need very less instance to handle the traffic. That is about dynamic scaling policy types. Next, scaling policies background. There are two parts, that is CloudWatch alarm and scaling actions. So this is nothing but the policies we edit. Scaling action is nothing but whatever the policies we edit, it acts according to the policies. As we discussed earlier that if the CPU usage is around 80%, then we need to have S5 instances in order to handle the traffic. If we have less than 60% usage of CPU, then we require only 2 instances in order to control the traffic. That is about scaling policies.